So it's my pleasure to invite Rodolfo Beltran Bravo to give a word or two from Peru. But before he speaks, there's a bit of a custom in this conference for people to give book advertisements. So I'm not going to... I just noticed that this morning, you see. I've not actually written a book in my life, though I think my life is a bit of a book. But I'd like to tell you that just now, Rodolfo Bravo, whose nickname I discover is Uropo, has given me this wonderful book to look at. And I haven't read it yet, it's in Spanish, but it is clearly going to be good. And it's got a wonderful title, and that was the reason why I had to tell you about it. It's called 4 Years Closer to Heaven. Here it is. This is Ropo's book. I'm sure you can order it on Amazon. Over to you.
Thank you. Ladies, gentlemen, I would like to tell you a little summary of our experience in Peru. For us, for our government, health and nutrition is the first priority. It's really not a governmental goal, it's a national goal. Why? Many reasons. Because first we have more than 65% of our population is less than 30-year-old, and of those, 20% is less than 10-year-old. But for us, means not only a challenge, you know, a political challenge that every government has. It's really a need, because we cannot allow that malnutrition repeats generation after generation. The generational reproduction of poverty, that's what we're talking about, and that's why, you know, health and nutrition is the first priority. In 5 years, we have reached considerable reductions in poverty from 54.8 to 34.8%, extreme poverty from 24.4 to 11.6, and undernutrition from 22.9 to 17.9. We are satisfied, but we cannot be completely satisfied until the last children and the last expectant mother, which is more important, is taken care of. We are also on our way, you know, to achieve the goals of the millennium, and especially in goals 1, 3, and 7, extreme poverty, you know, empower the gender presence, and environmental. One very important thing that we did, I mean, and said we as a society, it was in the presidential election in 2006, all candidates subscribed an agreement for health and poverty. This was a very good move. I mean, it was a very common goal that we had, and it's going to repeat this year for the election in April of this year. For us, this is a war. This is a war against poverty. And our first organization was called the Command Center Against War, because it was a war. So the first thing was leadership. Our President Alan Garcia reduced in the first month of his period from 86 programs to 26, which are the 26 programs that are now. 26 programs, one goal. The least goals that you have, the better. When you have many goals, you don't reach there. This is mainly done, the coordination after the political decision of the president is done by the office of the prime minister. And there are really two main strategies and programs, the Crecer strategy and the Juntos program, which Juntos program is a cash condition transfer program, as you know, in Bolsa, you know, in Brazil, Bolsa Familia in Brazil, also in Mexico, in which you give a certain amount of money every 2 months, and in exchange you ask a condition, that's called cash condition transfer. The conditions are usually health and education. For us, and I said also in the government, the main issue is we never give something for nothing. We believe it's the key, you know, to face poverty. If you get something for nothing, you're humiliating the person that receives. and you are also worst, you know. You are multiplying generation after generation the poverty. So the first step, and this program has that conditionality. Of course, we have also a financial discipline through our Ministry of Finances and Economy, which is called the performance budget. Jobs have to be, you know, justified by the impacts they have, by the results they have, by the money, not only how they spend it, but how they spend it. So it's really a discipline that we have, has to be an integral discipline. You know, the discipline cannot be in one sector. It has to be in all. The people that gives the money, and also we have a very strong nutritional programs, you know, like the National Articulated Program PAM that works in hand with the performance budget too, and also the health and other institutions. So resuming the 5 steps, you know, that we have is political decision, I think is very strong, the goal, health and nutrition, multi-sectoral effort, you know, reducing programs, performance budget discipline, award by contest. You cannot just award to people. Many of our programs are awarded by contest. And also the use of technology. The TICs here in India, they have the village resource centers. We have signed with our ambassador here is, you know, Pedro from the World Health Office, you know, work program. We signed this morning an agreement with India in the sense that we're going to use these village resource centers also in Peru. So the last thing, I don't know how many minutes I have, 1 more minute to talk about agriculture. At least I'm no, in agriculture, we are very firm. We believe that we have to go to Andean crops. We do have that resource. The Inca was a civilization, you know, and that civilization had the crops. We have a program to recuperate 1 million hectares of andenes or terras, in which are going to be the base of this, you know, priority on Andean roots, Andean crops. There was a famous book, and this is to end, you know, in the U.S. Congress Library, it says, on the last crops of the Incas, where those last crops of the Incas are today's crops. They are the ones that are going to save us in nutrition. Because, you know, nutrition products are not only sophisticated, you know, in cans, in bottles, and in pills, are also in native, you know, crops. And that added with habits and good practices are a very good way. We really welcome the partners of SUN. Really, David, not because I'm here with you all, we really welcome, because we have worked with USAID before. We have worked with the United Nations before. We have working now with the World, I know more as PMA, Programa Mundial de Alimentos of the United Nations, and several corporations. World Food Program. And also, you know, the FAO, you know, that has helped a lot. Thank you very much.
Robert, that's a real inspiration. Thank you very much indeed. And our second speaker, and we, perhaps because time was a bit tighter, we have to shorten, people have to speak for less than they would like to, but I know they won't mind. It's my pleasure to introduce Jagdish Pokhrel. Namaste, Jagdish. Tapai Kuriganos.
Namaste and good evening. Ambassador Gaberling, Mr. Roger, and Mr. Navarro, and all the distinguished participants here. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share with you some of the thoughts and things that we have been doing in order to become the early risers, to use your terminology. May I first of all share with you that I'm speaking from Nepal, Nepalese side. I have shared the context yesterday in another forum, so I won't repeat it now. But we are in a transition stage. So whatever we are doing today will have to fit in this transition stage. Transition meaning mainly the political one. Okay. Some of the assumptions that we make under normal situation, normally functioning government system, probably are not valid in Nepal's context. So the 1,000 days, which are reduced to 800 days, if I can calculate, then in these 800 days probably will be still be in the transition stage. So let's see how much we can achieve. That is a challenge for us. But the kind of homework we have done makes me think, believe that we will be able to sort of achieve some change in the days that remain. We have already developed our plan of action for nutrition. We have nutrition gap analysis. And of course, there, the analysis reflects all the stakeholders' views. It's a very participatory one. And then we do have, we are in the process of developing food security and nutrition strategy. And that those plans and the process are guided by the National Planning Commission, which is basically coordinating body among the sector ministries. Clearly, two ministries are the major ones here: Ministry of Health and Population, and Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. And the National Planning Commission actually coordinates, guides the whole process. It's a good news that after 1990s, when the major political change took place, we do have thousands of non-government organizations under different categories. NGOs, community organizations, user communities, women organizations, count any. So before 1990, we used to have a couple of hundred, and now we have over 40,000 of these organizations. So here is a very good basis for movement. And since it's a very open, liberal, and pluralistic society, there is a plenty of room for media to act, printed media, radio stations, and of course the audio media, television, several of them, which cropped up after 1990 change. This creates a basis. And the civil society is quite active, vibrant, and willing to participate in this kind of movement. So I'm very confident that it's not only the state, but civil society and the business and market actors also will be very much party to this movement. We have several ways to cooperate with the non-government civil society organizations and the private sector. And then we have our own lessons from the past to draw on. Some of the movements like vitamin A capsules and other movements have actually contributed to sort of eliminate some of the ills that used to be very much present in our society. So this is where I'm very hopeful and positive that we'll be able to take it up as a movement, and the National Planning Commission guiding the whole process. Now, to learn from the movement, of course, this is a National Planning Commission is a government body. So when it comes to movement, state actors often don't engage in movement. State actors actually join. So it's a civil society organizations that will have to be fairly proactive in sort of creating movement in this in scaling up the nutrition. And of course, this is a substantively speaking, intersectoral issue, and we are confident that we'll be able to sort of break the silos, what you say, and also the territoriality and sectoral sort of competitions that, of course, in any institution you can find, but hopefully we'll be able to take and smooth out and harmonize those interests and move ahead. I thank you very much. And last note, I had the opportunity to actually speak in the launching of Sun 1,000 Days Movement last September in New York, and share the with Honorable Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and also Foreign Minister from Ireland. Thank you very much. I am looking forward to working with you.
When I introduced Jagdish Pokhrel, I didn't tell you that he is Vice Chairman of the National Planning Commission in Nepal. But I tell you, you don't very often hear that endorsement of the way in which civil society can work in the movement and that openness. And it's wonderful, and I think that this is going to be, like Peru, a brilliant example. And just also, other point before Wilberforce gets his turn, is note how different the situation is going to be in different countries, taking account of the political and institutional context. Thank you very much. Now, Wilberforce is also from the Planning Commission of Uganda, and I'd very much, therefore, like to welcome Dr. Wilberforce Kisamba Mugerwa to give us perhaps 5 minutes of Uganda's experience.
Thank you, Moderator, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Uganda is in a very unique position. Here is a country of which growth rate has been about 6.7 for the last 10, 15 years. Here is the country which is almost meeting all the Millennium Development Goal elements in terms of gender, in terms of universal primary education, food security. But at the same time, here is Uganda, which is failing in very critical areas in terms of infant, child, and the maternal mortality. And also, Uganda has a food and nutrition policy. Uganda has a law which is being implemented, which is being driven to Parliament. But for the body which would drive the nutrition issues, the Food and Nutrition Council has not met regularly to have the drive. And it is that passion where we are having that, even in the districts which are known to be the food basket of Uganda, where reports indicate that children are stunted, that there is malnutrition. So it is that background which has brought the National Planning Authority, having completed the 5-year development plan, and included in the plan the nutrition issues, to see how we can drive in order to get Uganda out of this problem. And what we have done is to get experts and advocates in nutrition, and we came up with an action plan which to operationalize the nutrition policy. What this action plan is now available, but in order to create ownership, we are planning to ensure that different stakeholders, like civil society, they make their comments, like development partners make their comments, and indeed the government. And therefore, we shall have a national council, we shall have a national conference during which it will be adopted. None of my ministers are here simply because we are going through general election in the next week, and they are on their survival. So as a cabinet minister who is not elected, I thought I'd better take this drive. And as regards the sun, I think it has come at a right time when we are already prepared to scale up these needs. So we need your support. We need your support in the first place to call out these consultations in the next, say, 100 days so that this is adopted. Not 1,000, but 100. we need to ensure that these are put in different languages so that our people know. We need to ensure to map where are these NGOs and different civil society are working. Things are happening. There are people who are working, but one may be working on just one parish, one village, and he claims that he's working the whole village. So I have to do the mapping. That's also need some sort of funding. Advocacy. I have to these people may be doing advocacy, but not guided. We need to have a guided advocacy. We shall not stop different initiatives taking place, but they must be guided. The government should sit in the driver's seat. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm not taking anybody's powers. I'm doing work which is within that the National Planning Authority, which I happen to chair, is responsible for coordinating, planning, and monitoring. We need to ensure that we monitor what is being undertaken. And I've been discussing, I've become wiser since I arrived here. And tomorrow I will be, I think, an expert in this area, so that we get the indicators, because I'm responsible for indicating the performance of the economy. But within that, we need to see that we also monitor the performance in terms of nutrition. Uganda is highly decentralized. We have now over 120 districts, and each of these is at a government level. We need to coordinate them. They need to be guided. All these are interventions for which we need, because it is not in my budget. What I intend to do when this is, I receive comments from different stakeholders, is to have a development partners sort of conference. I hope you will come and you can assist me to get it organized so that we get committed, and each ministry, each agency, each sector will know what to do, because we have costed the action plan and identified the activities. Agriculture, what the interventions, healthy, gender, local government. And it is my authority which is responsible to harmonize these in the budget with the Ministry of Finance. So I'm well positioned to take this drive, and I hope you'll back me very much. Thank you very much.
There you go.